Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video is just going to be a really short little update video, not obviously cross stitch related, but not so much. This is my Etsy saga and I want this off my mind before I start Flossmas on Sunday, which is Friday this morning. It's freezing cold in the conservatory, so I'm going to do this as quick as I can. Firstly, thank you to everybody who's supported me over the years with my channel growing, and it's kind of the vehicle I use to sell my little bits and pieces, my cross stitch accoutrement. I'm not quite sure still what it's called. The little bits and bobs, the needle minders, the little project bags I make, the scissor fobs, the things my children, Lizzie especially, paints little wooden things and her bits and bobs, and things I've sold on Etsy over the years. I'm very grateful to everybody who has purchased something from me. It makes a massive difference, and here's the problem, it makes a massive difference to me, and I've become slightly reliant on the ability of having a little bit of extra cash, and it is extra. It's a tank of fuel I can put in my car. It's coffees for me and the girls, things like that is what I spend my Etsy money. I have a separate bank account for it. So anyway, Etsy have sent me a message and said, we need you to confirm, as you're a seller that's now making over the threshold to pay UK tax on your earnings. No problem, absolutely no issue with that. I knew it was going to come in. I knew I was getting over the threshold line, which means I've earned over a certain amount. In sales, it's not profit, it's it's gross, isn't it? It's you have made this much, therefore we will look into it, and basically I have to do a self-assessment declaration, which is no problem. And I was totally accepting that I would need to be doing this. And so I clicked the link they sent me in an email. I went through to Etsy, signed in, because it was on a browser and not on any of the apps. You couldn't do it on the app. And went through the rigmarole. And as I got to the page where it was like the legal bit, it still had Robin's name on it, and I thought, oh, that's weird. So I backspace, put my name in it. Everything else, details all correct, because it was what it was. And I uploaded my photo of my driving license, my legal ID, and sent it off and thought, brilliant. And then I got a message from Etsy saying, as you've not done this yet, we've put all your payments on hold. I'm like, okay. I'm still getting orders for little bits and pieces. Thank goodness Flossmas was out of the way and I'd got the money for the Flossmas boxes that I've sent out. Otherwise, I would literally be having a nervous breakdown right now. But I got all the money for that, and I have actually spent all the money from that. So yeah, anyway, that's beside the point. But so I went through it again, and then it accepted it that time. It didn't tell me it hadn't accepted me filling in the form the first time. It then said, well, right, we're looking into this. It should be 48 hours and your account will all be up and running again, no problem. And I thought, great. Hung on a minute, posted another order out, knowing that my account would be fine in 2 days. And then I got an email from them, and I was at work, and I read it at the beginning of my break, standing stock still in the middle of the shop because I'd popped out to get a bag of crisps. And it said, basically, we are unable to update your Etsy account because you are not the legal owner of the shop, and the legal owner of the shop has to submit their information to the UK tax, otherwise blah, 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 blah. And it gave me a huge long email about this and a huge long spiel as to why you are unable to transfer ownership of Etsy shops. Now, the only thing Robin ever did on it was originally Craftie 6, if you remember, because there were 6 members of the household, was actually set the account up. From then, I put the app on my phone, I logged into it on my phone, I've done every listing, I've done every sale, I've done all the posting, I've done everything. The paper trail leads to me. If they looked into it, it would all lead to me, but they won't. And I'm not going to ask Robin to upload his information that they're requesting, because we're not at the point where we'll do that sort of thing. I'm stepping away from it. And you know what? Etsy's foul Anyway, we all know Etsy's foul, but it's the vehicle to get noticed. And as I've spoken to my girls, they've said to me, Mum, look, how many orders do you get from people who don't watch your floss tube, from people who have just scrolled on Etsy and found something they like? And I said, well, I think 90%, probably more like 95% of my orders come from repeat buyers, which are people who've bought from me before, people's names I recognise, people who leave me comments on my YouTube videos. A lot of people leave me a little note when they order from me saying, I watch you on FlossTube. And so, yeah, probably right up there, almost everybody who orders from me is ordering from me to be supportive. I hope that you really like the things you get, that you've ordered from me. I hope you like them, but I understand that it's supportive rather than, oh, I just was scrolling Etsy and I saw this wonderful thing that I must have. I get that, and that's wonderful. I love it that you support me. I think it's brilliant. I've not ever given any other vehicle. I won't do buy me a coffee. I don't do, I have never monetized my channel. I'm still not going to monetize my channel. I think the $4 or $5 I might make on a really good video, you know, over the space of 6 months isn't really worth it. And I don't really want ads popping up in the middle of my videos. I always kind of roll my eyes when I'm watching somebody and I have to watch a minute. I have to watch a minute and a half of ad. Won't let me skip it, you know, because that's monetization for them. And I understand that that's monetization. But it's not, you know, it's never been my thing to do. So I always was like, no, if people want to support me, I want to give you something that you're going to enjoy in return for, you know, yeah, I can't just accept it for nothing, if you see what I mean. Sometimes people do send me bits and pieces, send me things in the post, or send me a pattern or something, you know, and I'm extremely grateful when people do that. And but I still feel a little funny accepting like stitchy kindness. It still feels a little bit like I'm begging or blagging along to get freebies, and that's not me. But you know, I very rarely say no because that's me. Anyway, because it's very hard to when people say, oh, I've got this stuff, would you like it, would you give it a new home? And I'm like, sure. Still feels funny, but I'm very grateful. So I do a lot. So I put a comment out immediately, like in my break at work, edited a picture of one of my best ever needle minders, the spider with that just sort of glowed. You see, somebody owns that now, and I love that. And it can sit on somebody's stitching, going, I'm a wonderful needle minder. But I just went, I'm off Etsy, because all I could think to do was refund the order that I had outstanding, because Etsy will not release the money, would never have released the money to me. And which was heartbreaking, because they're two very pretty needle minders. And if the lady who ordered them does see this, my email is in the description box. If you'd still like them, please email me and we'll sort it out. Because I tried to message. I just said I'm having a massive issue with Etsy and I need to cancel the order. Basically, they'd have never given me the money for it. They're holding money now that they won't release to me, and I know they'll never release it to me now, and I've got to just sigh and move on. It's not very much. But I've been selling on Etsy, I think, for about 15 years, maybe 14, 15 years. I started selling on Etsy under my own account, Emily's Original Knits. It's a dormant account, it's still there. It just is one of these that's, looks like nothing's listed in this shop for now. I used to knit the little, you've seen a few of my my scissor fobs with the little piggies on the bottom and things like that. And I used to knit a lot of nativity sets and I started knitting Christmas ornaments that I originally sold on eBay because there was no Etsy, or I didn't know it existed. This is when I was a single mum with Flora, brand new baby, and she's nearly 17. So for a few Christmases there, selling bits and bobs on eBay, and then Etsy paid for our Christmas. It's always been Christmas that I've been able to sell things. Knitted camels. I went through a phase of knitting camels. I got permission from Alan Dart, who's an amazing toy designer, to sell as long as it's not too many. He said, as long as it's not like a going concern, you know, like millions, and you always credit my patterns, which I always would because they're amazing. He was happy for me to sell them. I emailed him. He doesn't live very far from me, actually. He lives in the Lakes. And I was absolutely stunned to actually get an email back from him with his written permission to sell finished items made from his patterns. So that's what I did. I sold mermaids, and I sold elves on the shelves 10 years ago. Lovely handmade elves with bean bags in their bottoms, so they sat up. I've got one knitted. I must put it together to show you because they were so cool. They're so much nicer than elves on the shelves. And I sold about 5 or 6 of them in 1 year, and I was over the moon with that because that like bought presents for my children. So I had my own account, and I don't know why I didn't just use my own Etsy account and rename it. I think it's because we were going to all make things and it was going to be a family thing. Well, obviously a few years after that, our family all fractured up, which was inevitable. But if I hadn't have met Richard, I probably would still be living in the house, still be incredibly unhappy, living a completely separate life in the same house as we had done for nearly a decade, which was very difficult and very bad for everybody's mental health. Really, truly terrible for all of us. Just nobody was willing to admit it, I think. You all know how happy I am now and how much of a better place I'm at with myself now. And you know, 2 years ago, if I'd have got that message from Etsy, I literally would have been panicking. My anxiety would have gone through the roof. I would have been like just insane with not knowing what to do. And I went, okay, fine, we can deal with this. I'll come off Etsy. I've watched so many videos of people going, I'm done with Etsy. Problem with me is because I'm so tiddly tiny, I can't afford to do my own website. I'm not going to be able to stock it with enough things so that it's an actual going concern of a shop sort of thing. So what are we going to do going forwards? For Flossmas, because I have extra Flossmas items, I'm going to go to good old eBay. So I have a very old eBay account. I have actually just sold a pair of Dr. Martin boots yesterday that I bought on eBay for Flora, and they're too big. They were too big for her little dear feet. They were massive for her. So I've resold them. I didn't lose too much on them. I was quite pleased. But eBay are like, oh, we haven't seen you selling for 6 years. Oh, this is unusual. So what I'm going to do for Flossmas, and we start Flossmas in 2 days, my kits are all ready to go, is on the odd days, I'm going to start a Mill Hill kit on my single big piece of the Christmas Villages. And on the even days, I'm going to open my packet, show you what's in the advent packet, and then I'll give it away the following video. And then when I give it away, I will then list any extras. So if it's something you've seen that you think, oh, I really like that, or if you've got an advent box and you didn't get that number because I sold 6 items in a box. So the most anybody's got is 12. So people who only got a box of 6, they've only got half the items. So if one of the items comes up and all the items are numbered the same. So if you've got a number 2, you've got it. You're not gonna, every item got the same number on it. So it's not like a lucky dip. I actually did it with purpose. I tried to do it with purpose. So if you didn't get, say, a number 4, and I give away number 4, and you think, right, I got a lot of the others, but I didn't get a 4, and I love the 4, you can buy a 4, assuming I've got some spares. A couple of them I have no spares, but a few of them I do. Some of them I have quite a lot. I don't know quite why so many of some things were made and so few of others were. But anyway, that's by the by. So all that'll happen, I'm not going to make a big song and dance about it, is I'm just going to say, if you want one of these, there's a link in the description box that will take you to the listing. And then you just click on that, it'll take you to the listing and pop it in your basket. Basically, it'll just be buy it now, and it'll be worldwide. I'm trying to think of something that I can just do worldwide without the fuss of me having to ask you where you are and get a PayPal invoice together, which I can totally do. But I thought eBay will be super easy to do it, and we'll do it like that for Flossmas. And then starting next year, we're going to figure something else out. I've spoken to the girls because Lizzie is back painting me things. I think she's very short of money. She's back painting me things. Maddie did some amazing, and they are amazing. Anyone who's following Fiend of the Fell on Instagram will have seen she did little Christmas cards for her university friends. She went down to Cambridge last week to the Christmas dinner. She was invited, and she did 20 little cards. They were only 4 inches by 3, maybe even 3 by 2. They were tiddly, but she did constellations. Oh my god, they're amazing. And all I could see was full coverage cross stitch, and I'm not thinking Hayes, I'm thinking this size, so bigger than the original cards but small. So I'm going to do the one that I like the best. I'm going to turn it into a cross stitch pattern, and I'm going to start stitching it. This is not going to happen overnight. It's not me being a designer, it's me seeing Maddie's art and going, oh my god, I want to stitch that. Was what I said to her, was this one here, this one, I want to stitch this one. So going forwards, we might have some PDFs available of Maddie's, for Maddie, not for me, not money for me, money for Maddie. So there's that, and then of course there's all my bits and pieces. I also have quite a large amount of stock. I pulled nearly, I think 240 listings I pulled off Etsy, and I deactivated all my listings straight away because I didn't want the chance of having things needing to be refunded, letting people down, or getting into any more trouble with Etsy. And basically I'm just going to wash my hands of them. So going forwards, I've spoken to the girls, and I think what we're going to do is possibly get a Shopify account, which is basically the same thing anyway, but without the exposure. You have to actually go to it. There's not like a platform to browse like there is with Etsy. So possibly a Shopify account, and then when I put new things in, obviously I'll tell you on my floss tubes, put the link in the description, and I'll probably put a thing up on Instagram. And then obviously with a Shopify account, I can put the button on the post. I'm so unsavvy with it. I literally don't know what it's called. Put a button on the post where it says shop now, and if you click that, it'll take you to my Shopify account. So I think going forwards, that's what we'll do. I've got a lot of stock. I'm still going to be making things, and I still really enjoy making things. So for Flossmas, it'll be a link to eBay, because most of us use eBay. I'm trying to think of something that isn't going to scare people with like, oh my god, there's this whole new thing. It sounds a bit weird, a bit not sure about it. But we all use it. I'm pretty sure we all use eBay. So it'll be a buy it now. And if you want, the other thing for Flossmas is if you end up wanting more than one thing, or you think you might want more than one thing, click buy it now. I'll set the listing so that it doesn't have to be paid for straight away, because I don't want anyone paying more postage than they need. So basically, if you say, for example, like 3 of the items, clicked buy it now. When we get to the end of Flossmas, I'll send an invoice with all 3 items and 1 lot of postage, because basically I can post 12 items for 1 lot of postage. I know, because I did. So anyway, that's how we're going to work for Flossmas. And you can see I wanted to say this now so that we're not doing it in Flossmas, because I want Flossmas to be relaxed and fun, and I don't want the stress of worrying about anything, hence using eBay, because it's just going to be easy. And we'll just see how we get along. Right, guys, this was only going to be really short. I'm already 19 minutes in. I'm freezing cold. I'm going to start my whip go. I've got this, but I'm going to do this in a separate video, and then as I sort this out, this is my whip go. That's next year's whip go. As I sort that out, I will I'll make a different video, and that I'm about to do the first clip of the getting my whip go together video, which will be an extra that'll go up probably around the same time as my whip parade, because basically it's the same thing. It might all be the same thing. I might do one really long whip go stroke the others. That's probably what I'm going to do. It's going to be a whip go, whip parade stroke the ones I'm not going to work on next year. So thanks for watching, and goodbye to Etsy. And yeah, they're expensive anyway. I literally chunked through one. That's one transaction. Okay, another thing. So on an order of 2 needle minders, they take in all 14%. They take a fee off the postage. They take a postage fee and a VAT off the money we get for postage that we need for postage, because I only charge what postage actually bloody costs. So you're losing all the time with it. 14%. I actually thought it was more, to be honest. And if you just take, well, it is, if you just take the needle minders out and say this needle minder sold for this much, it does take more. But with obviously VAT. So on 2 items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different fees. Processing fee for the whole order, 2 transaction fees for the 2 needle minders, a transaction postage fee, regulating operating fee, 2 VAT transactions for the two items, VAT shipping transaction fee, VAT regulating operating fee for the postage, I assume, and the VAT processing fee. So all those fees. So when you actually go to your page to check whether you've made any money on anything, it's madness. Each transaction, you get the money in, and then there's like 10 things, and then the next thing, and the whole time, the problem with my Etsy is the whole time my listings are relisted every 4 months. It relists, and you pay in advance to list your items. So that's all gone, which I assume you kind of get back. You kind of make it back when you sell the item. So all that money, and it's 20 cents, I think, to list an item, which doesn't sound very much. But when I've just pulled 240 items off, it you know, and that I've already paid that, it's done. So Etsy's got that too. So they're winning, and I know they don't give a shit about me. I know all they care about now is these big people who are drop shipping. And we all know Etsy, we all know what it's turned into. And to find the artisan people who are still selling on the platform, you've got to wade through. You've got to wade through things drop shipped from basically Temu, drop shipped from AliExpress. I do it myself. It's really hard to find the things you actually want to buy. I went through, I've just received an order of CXC threads that I bought on Etsy because I wasn't terribly sure where to go to get them. They've arrived safe and good, and we'll see how we get along with those. But yeah, I had to dodge like dropship stuff. It's crazy. The only bit of Etsy I will still adore and use all the time is patterns, is PDF patterns, because wonderful. And if to get Maddie exposure, I have to list them on my old, or she might even open her own, but that will be her own. We'll see how that all goes. But I'm gonna make one and start stitching one already, a new start for next year. But we've no idea when that's going to even go for Maddie. Right, guys, 24 minutes now. I literally had the note in front of me and I forgot to talk about it. I'm hopeless. I'm going to quickly record before I actually start shivering, the start of my whip go sorting out. But I wanted to jump on before Flossmas. I didn't want to say all this crap in Flossmas. I just want Flossmas to be good and fun and stitchy. So stitchy because I'm going to be off work I've got 2 shifts in 14 days. It never happens to me, ever, ever, ever. I'm so pleased. Anyway, I'll see you on Sunday for a happier Flossmasy video. Right, guys, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.